Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great summer. Today we're going to zoom back to the 6th to 10th century Middle East to have a look at the early spread of Islam. Hope you enjoy. Before we look at the spread of Islam, let's have a look at what was going on before and around the Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century Middle East. The political landscape to the north of the Arabian Peninsula was shifting. The feuds between the Christian Byzantine Empire and the Zoroastrian Persian Sassanid Empire had raged since 602 and had exhausted both empires' resources and left their subjects tired of violence. The conflicts also caused economic contraction, especially in southern Arabia, which had lost its northern trading partners. But what does this have to do with Islam? This meant that when they came, Muhammad's teachings, leadership, and coherent explanation for the chaos were welcomed not only in the Arabian Peninsula, but in the Byzantine and Persian regions too. Despite the Byzantine victory against the Sassanids in 628, both empires were weak, leaving the Arab Caliphate as the dominant force in the region by 650. Back to Muhammad. Muhammad was, according to Muslim tradition, born in Mecca in circa 570 CE, and began to receive revelations in 610. The first of these, according to tradition, was revealed to Muhammad when he was meditating in a cave by the angel Jibril, or Gabriel, and later became the first part of the Quran. The message that there is no God but Allah and that we should live our lives in submission of His will was popular, and the Meccan authorities soon began to feel threatened by Muhammad and his followers, and began to persecute them, so they moved to Yathrib in 622. Now known as Medina, where he set up a community, or ummah, of supporters. This journey, known as the Hijra or migration, is so important to Muslims that the Islamic calendar begins in 622. In 600 CE, the Arabian Peninsula was a fragmented patchwork of pagan tribes. By 632, Muhammad had united these tribes under the banner of Islam. The first major divisions within Islam came with Muhammad's death in 632 CE. There were those who saw the Prophet's death as the end of an era, as their conversion to Islam was inextricably linked to Muhammad himself, and those who saw it as the beginning of an era. This group supported the accession of the first Caliph, Abu Bakr, who spent his reign reuniting the entire peninsula under Islam. This political unity instilled a new sense of social cohesion and spiritual purpose that harnessed the nomadic need to raid, which was merged with jihad. These previously rival tribes could now unite against a common foe, non-Muslims. The concept of lesser jihad developed the religious fervour necessary to launch military campaigns, as seen during the reign of the second Caliph Umar. Pivotal victories at the Battle of Yarmouk in 636 led to the Muslim capture of the Byzantine states of Syria, Palestine, and Lebanon, and the Battle of Qadisiyah in 637 signalled the defeat of the Sassanids and the beginning of Muslim expansion into Iraq, with Iran becoming the first non-Arab country to be conquered in 650. The first four caliphs who ruled from 632 to 661 were known as the rightly guided ones, being those who were, by blood or marriage, related to the Prophet. The death of Caliph Ali in 661 led to the first civil war, or fitna, of Islam, until the accession of the Umayyad dynasty in 692. This dispute over who had the right to succeed Muhammad as the leader of Islam divided Muslims into Sunni and Shia, a schism that exists to this day. Despite being seen for the most part as fairly impious, there is no doubt that the Umayyads made lasting contributions to Islamic society. Arabic was made the official language of administration, further unifying the Muslim world. Muslim lands were extended to Spain in the west and India in the east in 711, and tribal traditions gave way to centralized imperial control. A consciously Arabic identity was developed, seen in the minting of Arabic coins and the Dome of the Rock's construction, providing a striking symbol of Islam's dominance. In this period, it was Islam's politicization and militarization that allowed it to spread at such a rate. After military victories in northern Africa in the late 7th century, the Umayyads pushed south into the continent in three waves. The first along West African trade routes, the second down the River Nile and west into the Sudan and Uganda, and the third directly from the Gulf across the Red Sea to Africa's eastern shores. Eventually, the Umayyads' refusal to allow non-Arabs to convert to Islam led to a minority elite ruling over a largely non-Arab and non-Muslim population, and the revolt of 750 CE led to the accession of the Abbasid dynasty. who claimed descent from one of Muhammad's uncles, thereby winning Shia support as well as Sunni. In many ways, they continued to rule as the Umayyads had done, intensifying the expansion of the empire and claiming religious authority. However, perhaps due to greater political stability, the Abbasids encouraged a cosmopolitan empire, largely through trade and aided by the paper revolution, which increased literacy and catalyzed the growth of Islamic culture and civilization, which gave rise to the Islamic Golden Age. However, it would be wrong to depict it as a time only of peace. Alongside blossoming trade, jihad was waged across the expansive frontiers. However, revolt by Turkish and East African slaves in the 9th century were indicative of the decline in Abbasid power, and by the 10th century they had lost the majority of their political, military, and religious authority. Despite this decline of Islam as a political entity, Islam as a religion was at its strongest points yet. As Baghdad's power faded, regional courts strengthened, reinforcing Islam at a local level and easing the adaptation of Islam into other cultures. This is clearly seen in the stylistic differences between the Great Mosque of Xi'an in Mali and the Great Mosque of Xi'an in China. Islam spread at an unprecedented speed. Within just over a century of its existence, it grew from what was viewed simply as another Christian sect into an empire spanning over 15 million kilometers squared. However, although Islam as a political empire spread rapidly, it took far longer for Islam the religion to take hold. The eventual conversion to Islam came as the kings and leaders of Africa converted with both spiritual and pragmatic motives in mind, and trade with Asia led to increased interaction between cultures and civilizations. The impact of spirituality, trade, and jihad that allowed Islam to spread so far beyond the walls of Medina and the Prophet Muhammad's lifetime lives on over 1400 years later. I hope that gave you something to think about. As always, I have a reading recommendation for you. This time it is part of the Oxford A Very Short Introduction series, and it is Islamic History by Adam J Silverstein, which covers, of course, Islamic history, but also Islamic law, holy scriptures, and politics. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and please do like, comment, subscribe below.